standings in the National League Central Division. The Cardinals and Astros tied atop the division, with the Cubs 5 games under 500 and 5 games out of first place. After being shut out here on Thursday night, the Cardinals broke free yesterday with a 7-home-run outburst. This was the first of 7 in a 13-3 Cardinal victory. I welcome in my partner, Tim McCarver. And Tim, Tony La Russa in his first year brought a lot of new players, a lot of new coaches. They all got used to one another, and lately they've been playing great baseball.
Well, Joe, everybody knows St. Louis and the state of Missouri, but this spring, the Cardinals in a state of disarray. They had a new, intimidating manager in Tony La Russa, a whole new coaching staff. The whole left side of the field was new, with Ron Gann in left field, Gary Gaetti at third base, and Royce Clayton at shortstop. But had they ever come together, they had the best month of June of any team in the major league, 17-10, and they have not let up and seem to be an improving ball club because of the balance throughout the lineup.
Balance in the Cardinal lineup, but there is no balance in the Chicago lineup. Everybody knows about McRae, about Sandberg, Gray, Sosa, but the bottom of their lineup, Tim McCarver, has really struggled.
As a matter of fact, the 6th, 7th, and 8th spots of the St. Louis Cardinals, batting .292, the highest in the National League, and the Chicago Cubs, the lowest in the National League, for the 6th, 7th, and 8th spots with a .229 average. The starting pitching and the lower part of the order are the biggest problems and the biggest differences between the Cubs and the Cardinals this year.
They are packed into Wrigley Field. Standing room only crowd. Will give you the best seat in the house when we come back. Starting lineups in the first pitch coming up after this word from your local Fox station. Chicago at Wrigley Field. They are packed in to watch the Cubs and the Cardinals. And now we'll look at the new Miller Bear starting lineup for the Cardinals. Royce Clayton will lead off at short. Ray Langford hitting second in center field. Ron Gant hitting third. Brian Jordan cleaning up in right field. John Mabry at first base. Gary Gaetti hitting sixth. Tom Pagnozzi catching. Hitting eighth. Mike Gallego at second base. Todd Stottlemyre is pitching and batting ninth. The defense for the Chicago Cubs: Gonzalez, McRae, Sosa in the outfield left to right. Magnin, Fermin making his first Chicago start. Sandberg, Grace, Tyler Houston catching the right-hander, Jim Bullinger. Bullinger on the mound for Chicago, a record of 3-7.
You can't sell that, however, to the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim is 4-1 lifetime against St. Louis. He has won 4 straight starts. A sinker baller with a fair slider, but he does try to get the ground balls, especially in this ballpark. Jim's record against the Cardinals, 4-1. Cardinals last beat him back in 1994.
Big story with the Cardinals this season: the addition of Royce Clayton and, of course, Ozzie Smith, and what he has meant to the Cardinals and to the city of St. Louis. And I'm sure a big effort was made by Royce Clayton to put that aside, concentrate on what he is doing this year, having a very strong season. We talked to him about his relationship with the future Hall of Fame shortstop Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, there's no reason for that. Ozzie said the first thing when I came into spring training that our friendship shouldn't change, and we've been able to maintain the same friendship. As a matter of fact, become closer, because now I'm seeing him every day. So it's been a great opportunity, and I really wanted to take advantage of learning from him and seeing some of the things he's done, and I've tried to do that so far.
To say something about Royce Clayton, the day Ozzie announced his retirement this season, effective at the end of the year, they had a ceremony on the field at Busch Stadium. Royce Clayton stepped up in the first inning, hit a home run into the upper deck at Busch Stadium. Royce has been able to put the Ozzie Smith situation aside, concentrate on what he has to do, and he is really improving.
Royce starting today. As a matter of fact, they had Ozzie Smith Day here at Wrigley Field. And Royce starting, and the reason he's starting is that he hits Jim Bullinger so well. Otherwise, Smith would be the shortstop.
Clayton in the leadoff spot, and he has really taken off since being put there by Tony La Russa. Bullinger ready. His first pitch, ball 1. Jim Bullinger, as we mentioned, a record of 3-7. Has a career ERA of over 6.5 in the first inning. Under 4.5 thereafter. The umpires, Joe West behind home plate. Kellogg, Lane, and Runge around the infield. A veteran umpiring crew here in Chicago. 1-0 to Clayton. That caught the corner, 1-1.
It's interesting about the problems that Bullinger has had in the first inning. You mentioned that high ERA compared to other innings. He's given up 56 runs this year, 20 in the first inning, about 35% of the runs given up in the first.
1-1 to Clayton leading off, and now Royce in the hole 1-2 as Bullinger jumps out in front. Jim Bullinger back in the starting rotation. Started there, then went to the bullpen, complained about being in the bullpen, now back in the rotation. He feels he's best suited to be one of the 5 starters for the Cubs. A ball and 2 strikes on Clayton. Base hit. Leadoff man is on, and Bullinger right into first inning trouble as Clayton gets a 1-2 pitch and drives it into left center field. Our new look Fox box up at the top left-hand corner of your screen with a diamond in the back, the red dot over the first base bag, representative of Royce Clayton here in the first inning.
Might be representative of Royce Clayton and where he'll be after a couple of pitches. 20 stolen bases on the season. The Cardinals a very, very mobile offense. Got guys who can run, and Tony La Russa uses them very, very well.
Leadoff man is on for St. Louis, and we'll see what Jim Bullinger can do with Langford, Gant, and Jordan coming up. Cubs come into this game a record of 42-47, 5 games behind the Cardinals in the NL Central. That missed for ball 1. By the way, for those of you who were expecting to see the Astros and the Mets playing today, boy, rain has hit the Northeast, hit hard, and it was rained out today in New York, so that's why we're glad to have you with us here from Wrigley.
Big Bertha has arrived in the Northeast.
Big bad old Bertha.
Major Bertha.
Check on Clayton at first. As you mentioned, he's been doing a lot of running. 20 stolen bases. Previous major league high was 24, which he stole last year with the Giants. Has been caught 10 times, but starting to fit into that leadoff role for Tony La Russa. Definitely filling a need on this Cardinal ball club. 2-0 now to count on Langford. Gant on deck, so there's the incentive to try to get Ray Langford. Cardinals banged out 7 home runs here yesterday, tying a franchise record set back in 1940. Clayton at first with nobody out. And now 3-0 on Langford. What is it about a starting pitcher who can't get it done in the first inning?
Well, there are a lot of things that pitching coaches try to do. They try to have guys warm up earlier, warm up longer, instead of the normal 15 minutes of warming up. Jim Riggleman, the manager of the Cubs, very frustrated at his starting pitching. Jimmy, formerly with the Cardinal organization, as a matter of fact, the minor league player development director before taking over as manager of the San Diego Padres. His pitching coach, Ferguson Jenkins.
3-1 the count. Bullinger behind, and a check on Clayton, who may be running with a 3-1 count on Langford.
I don't like this as a running situation. The reason is I think a hitter should have a quiet background. I don't think guys should be put in motion. A guy with Langford's power, I think you take away from it if you send Clayton here.
He's picked off. He was going 1 out, and Bullinger erases Clayton as he was running and jumped too soon.
Tony La Russa is going to come out and argue that Jim Bullinger balked on that play. What happened? Watch the front leg of Bullinger. When he bends that knee, he's committed to go home. That's an old Dodger move to first. It's called a spin move. And Tony La Russa out to argue that right there. Jim Bullinger, watch the front leg. Almost imperceptible there. But when that front leg bends, he's committed to go home. And a lot of pitchers will put weight on that front leg, bend the leg ever so slightly, make the runner commit, and then spin and pick him off. And that's what Bullinger did right there. But Tony La Russa loses that argument.
3-1 the count on Langford. And now a one-out walk. So a base hit and a walk, and the pickoff. A big play by Bullinger for an important out here in the first inning.
Yeah, and to reiterate, Joe, I do not think that is a running situation. I mean, here is a pitcher who's just thrown a leadoff single to Clayton, and now he threw 3 straight balls to Langford. You've got a power hitter there. Langford should be allowed to choose his pitch in that situation, but Tony La Russa had Clayton running, and he got picked off. A lot of guys, a lot of major league managers think that is a running situation. I've always disagreed with that particular point.
1 on, 1 out, and here is Ron Gant hitting .247. He is the new number 3 hitter. Started the season as a cleanup and for the Cardinals. Since being inserted in that spot June 26th, hitting .286, and yesterday hit 2 home runs here at Wrigley. Bullinger has fallen behind each Cardinal hitter here in the first inning. And now a 1-1 count on Gant. Cardinals lost Gant for about a month with a hamstring injury. Since they've had him back, Cardinals have taken off, which you would expect. Big investment in Ron Gant. 5-year, $25 million contract signed this last offseason. Now a check on Langford, who was picked off here yesterday, and he's back pretty close.
$5 million a year for 5 years. That's pocket change compared to what Michael Jordan just signed.
1 year, 25. You know, if he stays healthy and gets another contract like that, he may be set for life.
I was going to say blow the lid off the bank if he plays another year.
1 on, 1 out, and a 1-1 count on Gant here in the first inning. No score. Gant has hit 14 home runs. Langford running. And a count of 1-2 on Gant. And that's Tony La Russa. If he gets a man picked off, he's not going to shy away and stop his attack. He'll keep guys in motion, and that's the way the Cardinals have been winning.
He's got everybody throughout the lineup that can run, and his first 4 in the lineup, Clayton, Langford, Gant, and Jordan, can steal bases. There's a big difference in being able to run the bases well and stealing bases. Cardinals' front part are base stealers. The back part are good base runners.
A lot of Chicago fans may not be aware of Tyler Houston behind the plate, how good of an arm he has. Ought to be an interesting battle here this afternoon. Tyler Houston picked up in a trade with the Atlanta Braves, a former Braves #1 pick. They like his bat, and they really like his arm. Scott Service the day off. 1-2 on Gant. That's foul. Little different look to the Cubs lineup today, with Magadan playing third, Fermin getting his first start at short. Jim Riggleman trying to change things around with this Chicago team that has not been scoring runs, not been hitting an inordinate amount of home runs for playing games here at Wrigley Field, trying to get something started. Bullinger keeping a close eye on Langford after picking off Clayton for the first out here in the first inning. Langford has had years where he's stolen more than 40 bases per season. This year he's stolen 16. He's going again. Gant nearly hit. Houston's throw not in time. Good effort by Tyler Houston, but the throw a little late. And Langford steals his 17th of the year.
Well, often what determines whether a catcher will throw out a runner or not is the pitch that he has to handle. Langford with a great jump, but look at the pitch that Houston has to handle. A fastball up and in to Gant. Fine throw, but Langford with just too great a jump.
Good effort by Houston, not good enough. And now with a runner at second, 1 out, a 2-2 count on Gant. 2 out. And that's Bullinger. Would seem to be the perfect kind of pitcher here at Wrigley Field, a sinker ball type pitcher who really relies on keeping the ball down.
Well, sometimes it's not the pitch, Joe. It's how you get there. And remember, he got there with a fastball off the plate up and in, and then came back with a slider to get Ronnie Gant. You can see Ronnie trying to talk to his rear end and have it cooperate with his left shoulder. Didn't do it.
2 out and a runner at second. Langford bouncing around back at second, so Bollinger steps off. Be an interesting conversation. I'd like to hear that.
You have to have coordination with the body parts.
Brian Jordan at the plate. A cleanup hitter for the Cardinals these days. Runner at second, 2 out. And that missed for ball 1. Here's a guy who's taken off since being inserted in the cleanup role. Brian Jordan hitting .415 since assuming this position in Tony La Russa's batting order on June 28th. Bollinger trying to get him to end the top of the first inning. That's a foul ball.
Tell you, that's a bad habit a pitcher can get into. When a pitcher wipes a couple of times, usually he's adding on to the sign when he wipes above the waist. He's subtracting. They're talking about it right there. Tyler Houston not familiar with Jim Bollinger. So instead of shaking off his catcher, what Bollinger will do, he wiped 2 times. So Houston called for a fastball, and when a pitcher wipes above the waist, that means he's adding onto the sign, and it's always a breaking ball. And hitters are smart enough to figure these things out. And even though it was in a good spot, I'm sure Brian Jordan was guessing breaking ball then, and he got it.
1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at second, 2 out. First inning. And time called before the pitch. Interesting time for the Cardinals and the Cubs, maybe even more so for the Cubs. 8 of the next 11 games these two teams will play will be against one another. So a chance for the Cubs to make up some ground in the NL Central. That's well hit to left field. At the track, at the wall, goodbye. Different day, same story. Jordan's home run makes it 2-0 St. Louis here in the first.
The slider is a pitch that more mistakes are made than any other pitch. That ball just said, hit me. A hanging slider to Brian Jordan, and you can see Bollinger very upset with himself. The minute that ball was hit, he was jumping up and down.
So the Cardinals, who hit 7 home runs here yesterday, Jordan had a 3-run homer here yesterday in the first inning. Go deep, and now Mabry lines to center for McRae. Boy, he's a terrific center fielder. Bollinger historically struggles in the first inning. History should teach us something. After 1/2 inning at Wrigley in Chicago, 2-0 St. Louis. On up for the Cubs. They'll lead it off with Brian McRae in center field. Ryan Sandberg hitting second. Mark Grace hitting third at first base. Sammy Sosa is in right field. Dave Magadan at third base with Gonzalez Louis in left. Tyler Houston catching. Felix Fermin his first start as a Cub. And Jim Bollinger, a very good hitting pitcher, batting ninth. The defense for the Cardinals, Gant, Langford, and Jordan in the outfield, with Gaetti, Clayton, Gallego making his second start for St. Louis, and Mabry at first. Pagnozzi catching, and Todd Stottlemyre, his first year in the National League and his first start against Chicago.
He has been exceptional against right-handed batters this year, a 183 average. And for that reason, Jim Riggleman has as many left-handers as he can afford to use. Left-handers batting .306 against Todd.
Todd Stottlemyre, most likely the emotional leader of this Cardinals starting rotation. And against right-handed hitters, devastating with that good slider. Lefties over 300. And Brian McRae being a switch hitter. A test for Todd Stottlemyre here in the first inning. McRae will try to get something jump-started for Jim Riggleman and the Cubs here in the first. And he looks at ball 1. .266 average, 4th in the league with 25 stolen bases. And ahead in the count, 2-0. McRae will be followed by Sandberg and Grace if anybody gets on National League's leading home run man, Sammy Sosa. That's a little high, and it's 3-0. Stottlemyre behind in the count, finds the strike zone, 3-1. Cardinals got a 2-run homer from Brian Jordan in the first inning. What do the Cubs have in store for Stottlemyre? There's a strike, 3-2.
You can certainly understand Todd Stottlemyre having a problem with the mound. 3 straight balls. He's never pitched in this ballpark. First start ever against the Cubs.
Still 3-2.
There is a period of adjustment for a pitcher when he pitches in a new ballpark. The slope of the mound, the height of the mound is 10 inches high. It was lowered from 15 inches to 10 inches back in 1969. But slopes are different, and you can see Todd right there having somewhat of a problem in his landing zone.
And most pitchers who pitch at Wrigley for the first time have even more trouble with the wall and the wind.
Psychologically, exactly.
3 balls, 2 strikes on the leadoff hitter McCray. And a leadoff walk, so a good start for the Cubs. And you can definitely see Stottlemyre not comfortable with the mound in his first Wrigley Field start.
And Todd Stottlemyre, the last 28 batters that he has faced leading off an inning, he hasn't walked any of it. First start at Wrigley Field, and here he walks Brian McCray with a 2-run lead. And more often than not, have to challenge a guy in that situation.
Here is one of the great stories of baseball in
really
1996, and nobody talks about it. Ryne Sandberg, after taking a year-and-a-half off, is hitting .244. His average has jumped up, 15 home runs, and 52 RBIs. 1 on, nobody out, and Stottlemyre paying attention to McCray over at first. What a career Ryne Sandberg has had. 10-time All-Star, 9 Gold Gloves, was the MVP in '84. That was literally behind Sandberg, and I cannot believe Pagnozzi caught it. That's unbelievable.
That is a spectacular play by Tom Pagnozzi. I totally agree with you. This ball's about 6 inches behind Sandberg. Check this out. Look at that. Sandberg had a better chance of catching it than Pagnozzi. What a play.
That saves a wild pitch. Keeps McCray at first, and Stottlemyre is all over the place for the first 2 hitters. He walked McCray, and he's behind in the count to Sandberg. That caught the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was a terrible pitch, but for Stottlemyre, maybe not too bad. Put that in the back of the mind of Ryne Sandberg.
The pitch almost looked like it went through him instead of behind him. How in the world did it miss him?
I can't believe it not only missed him, but Pagnozzi was able to catch it on the other side of him, and now the pitch out, 2-1. How many times do you see a team or a battery pitch out into a running situation, and now the count 2-1?
I know what you're saying. Sometimes you talk the opposing manager into running by pitching out.
Sandberg looking for a pitch to hammer. McCray is running. Pagnozzi's throw not in time. A 2-2 count, but a stolen base for Brian McCray, number 26.
Brian with the best percentage of stolen bases to caught stealings in the National League. He's only been caught 3 times. Sandberg swinging at the 2-1 pitch. So the count's even, but the Cubs have moved a runner up another 90 feet.
So McCray at second, nobody out. The 2-2 to Sandberg, foul. Todd Stottlemyre, a pitcher who is in that category of a strikeout pitcher. Struck out over 200 last year with Oakland, 205. And this year already over 100 at 108. Looking for one here with McCray at second and nobody out. 2-2. Off the end of the bat to keep Sandberg alive. Awful quiet crowd here at Wrigley today. You know, it's an early 12 o'clock start. I would imagine a late Friday night for a lot of Cardinal Cub fans after that game here yesterday afternoon.
I would imagine.
A little bleary-eyed and ready to watch baseball. 2-2 to Sandberg. Now a full count.
Stottlemyre's all over the place. This is an uncharacteristic Todd Stottlemyre out there on the mound. Threw the ball behind Sandberg. One way inside, way outside with the slider. And remember, he walked Brian McRae.
3-2 pitch. 1 out. That'll bring in Mark Grace with a runner at second. 1 out.
Mark Grace, one of the pure hitters in the National League. There are very few spots that he does not succeed, and his most prolific spot, that ball down and in. And what left-handers do on balls down and in, they simply drop the bat head on that ball. You don't need full extension on that pitch down and in. On the pitch up and in, however, you have to get the barrel of the bat out in front, not so down and in. But most left-handers good on that pitch. Grace is great on that pitch.
Mark hitting .343, good for 4th in the National League, and he takes a ball high. But only 3 home runs for Grace, something he's not proud of, and something the Cubs wish. Well, I don't know if you want to say they want to change his approach or his swing, but you know they want more power production out of a $5 million first baseman. Very, very good defensively. Worked very hard to become just that. I think he gets a little frustrated with not being able to hit the ball out of the park with more regularity. What a tough out. 2-0 pitch. 2-1.
Well, you can hone your skill on that ball inside. You can turn on it a little bit, but you can't take away from your natural stroke. And Mark Grace's natural stroke is to left field, left center, right center. He's never been a pull hitter.
Trying to pull here. He's going deep to right. Not deep enough. Jordan near the track. 2 out. McRae advances, and he's at third with 2 down here in the first. Tried to jerk it out of here, but couldn't get all of it. 2 down.
Well, sometimes you're forced to try to jerk it from the location of the pitch. That was a slider down and in, and that in itself takes something away from Grace's stroke the other way. Watch this slider tie up Mark Grace. Remember, this ball isn't down and in. It's down, or it's inside, but it's on the hands, and he doesn't have full extension. Didn't get all of it.
So a runner at third, 2 out for Sammy Sosa. 27 home runs for Sosa, and he looks at ball 1. Upset that he was not selected to be a part of the All-Star game in Philadelphia.
Can't blame him.
Not at all. Leading the National League in home runs, has become such a more productive hitter. From a wild swinger to a guy who's hitting .261, and he's driven in 64 runs. National League home run leaders at the All-Star break. Those who did not get selected to represent the National League at the All-Star game, and Sammy Sosa right at the top with his 27 home runs. Two-time 30-30 man. First to do it for the Chicago Cubs. Runner at third, McRae. 2 out. And a 2-1 count on Sosa. 2-2.
Situation right here where you do not throw Sammy Sosa a strike. He has struck out 96 times. That's more than any other National Leaguer. And if you want to go upstairs with the fastball, fine. Throw it about chin high. If you want to go away with the slider, fine, but make sure it's out of the strike zone.
Runner at third, 2 out. And the pop-up on the infield for Gallego or Clayton. Whoever wants to dare to make the catch with the wind. Clayton hauls it in. Stottlemyre pitches around a leadoff walk, and after 1, 2-0 St. Louis. Cubs trail by 2 after 1. Start of the second inning. Bullinger back to work. He'll work 2. Gaetti, Pagnazzi, and Gallego. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the Cardinal lineup. Gaetti first up. He hit 2 home runs here yesterday afternoon, giving him 10 for the year. And Bullinger trying to get together with Houston. This is interesting. First pitch of the inning, and Bullinger wants to talk it over with his new catcher.
Well, the one thing that Jim Bullinger must think about doing when he throws the slider is to try to stay on top of it. That makes it go down like it did to Ron Gant, a strikeout victim in the first inning. Now, here's a slider that not only does it go down, but the spin is fat. It's got that quarter spin laying over the plate. And usually big league hitters take care of that, and catchers don't catch too many of those pitches.
Gaetti looks at ball one, so Bullinger falls behind again. A .255 hitter with those 10 home runs. 1-1. Gary Gaetti, another big story. When you talk about Sandberg, you can say a lot for Gaetti, who last year with Kansas City hit 35 home runs. Guy who 3 years ago was released at the age of 35 by California. Good time to get hot, July 4th. 2 balls and a strike. 3-1. Bullinger trying to come back behind on the count, 3-1. And a leadoff walk. So again, a poor start to the inning for the right-hander Bullinger. Second walk of the day, and it's 1 on, nobody out for Tom Pagnozzi, who was having his best season ever, hitting .295 with 6 home runs and on pace for a career year RBI-wise. He's driven in 30.
And all of the elements are here for a hit-and-run play. The natural stroke of Pagnozzi to right field. He's a good hitter the other way. Bullinger keeps the ball down. Gaetti not a fast runner, but that's not one of the elements of the hit-and-run play. You don't have to be fast.
Little flare into center field. That's going to drop. Gaetti will stop at second. And the first 2 are on for the Cardinals here in the second. Pagnozzi almost smiling after that hit. Off the hands, a little blooper into center, and it's 2 on, nobody out for Mike Gallego. That's what he did at St. Pete. Tore his hamstring this spring, and this is only his second game back.
Mike telling me yesterday that he said, you think you're old. You go down to St. Pete. You're older than all of the players. You're older than the manager. You're older than the public address announcer in St. Pete.
And yesterday in his first game in the National League, had an RBI single. Takes a strike and a good pitch from Bullinger.
Mike saying he really knew he was old. Obviously self-deprecating sense of humor. He really knew he was old when he knew the answer to the trivia question, and the trivia question was who was on deck in front of Kirk Gibson's home run, the famous World Series home run in 1988. He knew it because he was playing in that game.
Behind on the count here, 0-1. Bullinger in second inning trouble. Showed a bunt, took strike 2.
Mike Davis, by the way, was the player that was on in front of Kirk Gibson when Dennis Eckersley threw that infamous slider. Infamous as far as the A's were concerned. Famous as far as the Dodgers were concerned.
We have that entire battery at the ballpark here today with Eckersley and the bench coach for Tony La Russa, Ron Hasse. 2 on with nobody out, an 0-2 count on Gallego. Leadoff walk to Gaetti, and then a base hit to center by Pagnozzi. Setting up an RBI chance for Gallego, and Tony La Russa happy to get Gallego in the lineup. Luis Alicea, who started the year at second base, has made 19 errors at that position and now is on the bench. 1 out and a big strikeout for Bullinger. So Gallego strikes out and does not advance the runners, and Bullinger picks a good time for his second strikeout.
This is a good tailing fastball in on the hands of Mike Gallego. Probably the best pitch that Bullinger has thrown all day as far as velocity and movement.
Now Magadan talking to Bullinger about a possible bunt play, but you've got one of the better hitting pitchers in the National League and Todd Stottlemyre at the plate.
2 good hitters as pitchers today. Bullinger batting .260, Stottlemyre .263.
2 on with 1 out. Strike 1. Todd's father Mel once went 5 for 5 against the Washington Senators
back in 1964, and Todd this year had a 3-hit game versus the Pirates. He went 3 for 3.
Has only 1 RBI, and Bullinger trying to get him for the 2nd out. Bullinger able to strike out Gallego. Now back to the bunt. Ball 1. Who are the best hitting pitchers? Batting average wise, it's Glavine. He's always been at the top of that list. Hits wise, it's Stottlemyre with 10 hits. Two on, 1 out, 1-1. And now Stottlemyre in the hole, 1 and 2.
Has forced Stottlemyre to hit the ball the other way. I would imagine Tony will allow Stottlemyre to hit right now. No sense in putting the bunt play on with 2 strikes.
Showing bunt and bunting, a good one to the pitcher. Only play at first. Got it. Bullinger checked on Gaetti, almost waited too long, still able to recover and get Stottlemyre 2 out.
I think some managers will allow an experienced pitcher, and Stottlemyre certainly that, the option of bunting if they want to, or swinging away. Stottlemyre drops a beauty. Bullinger had ideas about third to get Gaetti, but this throw to first with Sandberg covering just gets Todd Stottlemyre.
So Stottlemyre does his job in the end, and now with 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. The batter is Clayton, who singled his first time up. Bullinger trying to pitch around a leadoff walk and a hit, and this would be a big shot in the arm for the Cubs if Bullinger can get out of it. Gaetti led off with a walk. Bagnazzi the only hit in the inning. And the 1-0 to Clayton.
See, White again above the waist. That means add 1, so it's a breaking ball. Houston wanting the fastball, and Bullinger wiping above the waist. So you folks at home, anytime Jim Bullinger wipes above the waist, you can look for a breaking ball. He's having a lot of problems with Tyler Houston since Houston's first start with Bullinger catching or pitching.
That caught the inside corner, 2-1.
It's tough, Joe, when you trade for a catcher in the middle of the season, because it's almost like spring training for him, learning the pitching staff, and that's what Tyler Houston's going through right now.
Bullinger trying to get Clayton to end the top of the 2nd. Ball's behind 3-1, something he doesn't want to do with a left-handed batter Langford waiting on deck. A base open, but Langford more of an RBI man waiting next. To Clayton. Good pitch from Bullinger, full count.
And see, that was a quality slider right there. It wasn't the slider of the type that was thrown to Jordan. You folks at home can tell the good sliders. It's the one that had the bite down right there. That's quality stuff right there.
So Bullinger a strike away from getting out of a 2nd inning jam. Cardinals out in front 2-0 here in the 2nd. To the right side, a base hit. Gaetti scores. They will hold Pagnazzi with Langford coming up, and it's 3-0 St. Louis. Clayton delivers RBI number 20, and the Cardinals add to their lead.
Talk about an adjustment that Royce Clayton made. He knew he swung at that quality slider low and away. He's looking for the ball away again and just punches it to right field. That's a fine piece of hitting by Royce Clayton. Drives in RBI number 20 on the year. Really what you have to do to be a successful hitter, you have to adjust during the count, and that's what Clayton did.
So the leadoff walk comes back to get Bullinger, and the Cardinals lead by 3. And now here's Langford with first and third, 2 out. Langford drew a walk and scored a run his first time up. Driven in 50. Hit home run number 15 here yesterday. Runners at the corners, 2 out for Bullinger. Langford drives it foul.
Because Pagnazzi is on at third, this is not a running situation. The hole is open on the right side. If Langford can use that hole for a base hit, the Cardinals played another run. If Clayton's thrown out trying to steal, the inning's over.
0-1 the count. Bullinger trying to control the damage here in the second. Gave up a 2-run homer to Jordan in the first. Now out in front of Langford, 0-2.
Now things change just a bit because it's no balls and 2 strikes to Langford. And the Cardinals may opt to send Clayton and have him stop between the bases and try to pick up a cheap run. 3-0 lead. It's time to take chances, perhaps, Tony La Russa's thinking.
0-2. Clayton not running, and Langford pops it into right. Sosa back, plenty of room, should end the inning. It does. Cardinals get a run on 2 hits. A leadoff walk came back to get Bullinger, and after an inning and a half at Wrigley, 3-0 St. Louis.
Fox Saturday Baseball is brought to you by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. By Pizza Hut, where you can get autographed batted ball sets delivered right to your door. By new Speed Stick Gel. It's unbeatable gel protection, just for the guy. And by Vista, it's everywhere you want to be.
Bottom of the second inning, 3-0. The Cardinals out in front. A very quiet crowd here at Wrigley. And they're on the rooftops surrounding the ballpark. And Tom Browning left during a game, and while he was pitching for the Cincinnati Reds, headed across the street, up on top of the roof. Teammates waving hello to him, and sat up there in his uniform. Could have put on a trench coat or something to be a little more inconspicuous. Here is Magadan. He'll be followed by Gonzalez in Houston. And the Cubs trailing 3-0 here in the second. Magadan hit his first Cub home run here yesterday, but hitting only 186 and has been hit by the injury bug all season.
Had his left hand operated on in spring training. He had a bone spur in that hand. It wasn't activated until May 31st.
Ball and 2 strikes. Magadan, longtime Met. Had a very good career with the New York Mets. Played for a while in Florida, but you look at the list of average leaders for the Mets, and his name is on there.
Right.
Second strikeout of the day for Stottlemyre, the first out here in the second. And you can see Stottlemyre calming down and becoming more familiar with that mound. So with 1 out, nobody on, here's Luis Gonzalez. Hitting .269. 6 homers, 44 RBIs, and batting in the 6th spot. Splitting time lately with Doug Glanville. Minor league player just brought up.
That's better than splitting time with Jerry Glanville.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, he'd have to become a football analyst, right?
Jerry is a beauty. There's Ed Lynch, the general manager for Chicago. He has said publicly he is in a trading mode. Into right field off the end of the bat for Jordan. In front of the track, 2 out. Let's go to Chip Carey standing by in Hollywood on an update. Hey, Chip.
Hey, Joe. Thanks a lot. Great pitchers matchup. Kevin Brown, John Smoltz, but Smoltzy with the stick. Singles to right field. Scores Jeff Blauser. Look at the throw from Gary Sheffield. Little high. He beats the tag, does Blauser, and the Braves lead Brown and the Marlins 1-0 in the third. Back to you.
All right, Chip. Grandpa says hello, by the way. Saw him before the game. Here is Tyler Houston. He takes strike one. Tyler hitting a mere .636 with the Chicago Cubs, being traded over from Atlanta. .342 overall for the year. 0-2.
That's a great baseball name, isn't it? Tyler Houston.
Former #1 pick.
Yeah.
And only 25 years old.
Ran into a numbers problem with the Braves. The Braves signed Mark Whitten, and Tyler was put on waivers, picked up by the Cubs.
Stottlemyre making good pitches now. Jammed Houston. The count stays 0-2. Picked up on June 26th from the world champions. That caught the corner, and that ends the second inning. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 3 in the game for Stottlemyre. And after 2 at Wrigley, the Cardinals out in front by 3.
You're watching Fox Saturday Baseball.
Nothing, and Ron Gant looks at strike one. It will be the heart of the order. Gant, Jordan, and Mabry for the Cardinals here in the third, up by 3. Ball trying to get out of play, and it will. And quickly an 0-2 count on Gant. Last year, Ron Gant with the Cincinnati Reds, 29 home runs, 88 RBIs. And a big part of their success in Cincinnati. Leading it off in the third inning, 0-2 from Bullinger. Struck him out, looking one away. And 3 strikeouts for Bullinger. Struck out Gant twice. That'll bring in Jordan, who with a runner on and 2 out back in the first inning, dialed up long distance and shot one into the bleachers in left center field against Bullinger to put the Cards on top 2-0. His 11th home run of the year, giving him 55 RBIs, and here he is with 1 out, nobody on in the third. Right down the middle, ball 1.
Country Joe West behind the plate. That ball did appear to be a strike, however.
1-0 pitch to Jordan. To the right side, should stay playable. Can Sosa get there? Long run, looking for help, and Grace bails him out. What a catch by Mark Grace in foul territory for the second out of the inning.
As you just saw, folks, and we'll see again, there is no more aptly named player in the National League than this guy. With Grace.
I remember when he first came up, he worked day after day after day with Joe Altobelli, hitting him ground balls, hitting him pop-ups at first base. 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, and right now I don't know if there's a better defensive first baseman in this league.
Well, there are no softer hands than any other first baseman or perhaps any other player in the big leagues. Those pliable hands that just give in the glove, as you saw on that fine catch over the shoulder.
0-1 to Mabry, jammed, and he squirts it to Sandberg in the first 1-2-3 inning of the day for Bullinger. We get into bottom of inning number 3. Fermin, Bullinger, McRae coming up. Cardinals lead by 3.
My father was
looking for hits, looking for runs, trailing 3-0, bottom of the third inning, and Felix Fermin will dig in. His first at bat as a Chicago Cub. He's been everywhere this season. He takes a strike from Todd Stottlemyre. Fermin started with Seattle, did not have an at bat for the Mariners, then jumped over to the Yankees, played at AAA Columbus only a handful of games, then to Iowa, now up here in Chicago. And a 1-1 count.
Felix originally with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He went to Cleveland for Jay Bell back in 1980, and then the Mariners in the Omar Vizquel deal.
Into center field for Langford. And Stottlemyre has not given up a hit through 2 1/3. Leadoff man is gone here in the third inning. Folks, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Sammy Sosa and the Chicago Cubs travel to St. Louis, a home-and-home weekend series. Take on Ron Gant and the Cardinals. Exclusive Saturday afternoon baseball beginning at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, at 1:30 Mountain, 12:30 Pacific. Check local listings. Also the Dodgers and Giants. So a good weekend of baseball next weekend on Fox.
And a good weekend of rivalries next weekend. These two clubs, the Cubs and the Cardinals, always at each other. Same for the Giants and the Dodgers.
After struggling early, Todd Stottlemyre now has thrown 14 strikes his last 17 pitches, and pitch count is down after that long first inning. Ball's behind Bullinger, 2-0. Jim Bullinger, a guy who hit a home run the first pitch he ever saw in the big leagues. It came against Real Cormier and the Cardinals in St. Louis.
Bullinger had 2 home runs this April. The last Chicago Cub pitcher to hit 2 home runs in a season is now with the Cardinals. Dennis Eckersley.
He doesn't bat anymore.
As a starter in 1986, right?
Here's the 3-0, and Bullinger takes a strike.
As a matter of fact, that may have been the last year that he hit. That was the last year with the Cubs. And at that time, in 1986, he had 3 saves in the major leagues.
Then he went to Oakland, and the rest is save history. Now he's with the Cardinals. 3-2 the count on Bullinger. That's out of play. Bullinger, originally a shortstop in professional baseball. That's why we talk so much about his hitting, and why when you see him take a cut, he has a good swing. Was ahead of the count, 3-0. Now a full count, 3-2. To get on ahead of Brian McRae, who waits on deck. A 1-out walk to the pitcher. Second walk of the game, and not one for Todd Stottlemyre to take pride in. That'll bring in Brian McRae, 1 on, 1 out. Hits by direction, outfield hits while batting left-handed. 17 to left, 17 to center, 27 to right. And he should benefit now with a runner at first, although Mabry does not hold against the runner. Still plays closer to the bag and a bigger hole on the right side of the infield. That's ball 1.
Yeah, you still have the hole on the right side, and the reason for that is Gallego at second is cheating towards second base for the double play. So the hole's still there, and it is a big hole on the right side.
1-0 to McRae. Now Stottlemyre starting to fall behind hitters, and he gets a visit from Pagnazzi. Tom Pagnazzi started the season on the disabled list, and when he worked his way back into playing shape, I think he shocked Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan at just how good he is. And they credit Tom Pagnazzi with helping very much to turn this Cardinal pitching staff around.
He's probably the best mechanical catcher in the National League.
2-1.
Tough to be better than Pudge Rodriguez with the Texas Rangers, but as far as throwing, blocking balls in the dirt, the mechanical part of catching, few are better than Pagnazzi.
Stottlemyre walked Bullinger, got behind in the count, 2-0 to McRae. Now 2-1. Into center field, popped up. Left center for Langford. Has not made an error all year. 2 up. Bullinger back to first. He's there for Sandberg. Still no hits for the Cubs. Sandberg struck out his first time. 2 walks, the only base runners against Stottlemyre here so far. Walk to McRae in the first, a 1-out walk to Bullinger here in the third, and Sandberg. You know what he's thinking with 2 out and the pitcher over at first. Takes ball 1. Coming up at the bottom of the 9th inning, Tim and I will award today's Chevrolet Player of the Game. Sandberg has hit 34 career home runs against the Cardinals, 3 this year. 1-1. You like Sandberg's approach at the plate? Sometimes he'll play with a pitcher a little bit.
He does. He decoys a lot of pitchers. Of course, that was a nasty slider from Stottlemyre. Ryne Sandberg only 11 home runs away from Joe Morgan for the all-time home run leadership by second baseman.
1-1 pitch. Had him reaching, and the easy hop to Clayton, hitting over. And Stottlemyre gets away with a walk to the pitcher, Bullinger. After 3 at Wrigley, quiet crowd. So far, all St. Louis, they lead by 3. Started one day, long time ago. Kids having fun.
Yeah, the one thing they don't have here at Wrigley Field, because they don't need them, they don't have a lot of giveaway days. You rarely see cap day, bat day, ball day, or things that are held at most stadiums because of how they draw. They pack them in here.
They pack them in, and they start those young kids early in the Cub Card rivalry. Gaetti leads it off. Think they're having any fun out in the bleachers today, out in the sun?
Well, across town with the Chicago White Sox on the south side of Chicago, they've already had romance night earlier in the year. Middle of August, they're going to have the dog day of August night.
Should combine the two.
Well, yeah, those are.
Here's a base hit into left field. It's fair and down into the corner. Gaetti's thinking about a double, and he will make it. A leadoff double for Gaetti here in the 4th. Just did stay fair. And Gaetti just did get into second base.
That's up to you. If you want to combine the romance night and dog day of August, you should feel free. But those are definitely 2 dates you shouldn't confuse. This slider wrapped down the left field line, and Gaetti with a double, his 12th of the year.
Everything I read, romance night didn't go over big with Ozzie Guillen.
No, where couples were invited and ended up making out in a section and out in the bleachers.
That's good family entertainment.
Hey, gotta love it.
Pagnozzi hitting .299, a single into center his first time up. Trying to at least advance Gaetti. He's at second with nobody out. Bullinger has had trouble with the first hitter in each inning, except Gant back in the 3rd. You all right?
I'm fine. I'm recovering.
Here's Rodney Myers getting loose for the Cubs in their bullpen. They went through them all here yesterday. Jim Riggleman used them all except the left-hander Bob Patterson in the 13-3 loss to the Cardinals here yesterday afternoon. Now Pagnozzi in the hole 1-2. Showing bunt, but wouldn't you believe they'd have him drive in the run instead of leave it up to Gallego?
Yeah, I think he was showing bunt. I actually think he was going to push the bunt to the right side, but that does put a lot of heat on your 8 and 9 hitter. Remember, your pitcher's batting 9th. Time if you're going to drive the ball the other way, that's one thing, but to bunt him over, wrong play.
Still 1-2. Mentioned Bullinger with trouble with the first hitter in each inning. A leadoff hit by Clayton in the first, a leadoff walk to Gaetti in the second. A leadoff double by Gaetti here in the 4th. Pagnozzi, not the guy Bullinger wants to see at the plate, although he has him set up at 1-2. Needing the strikeout. Nearly got it. Good piece of hitting by Pagnozzi to spoil that pitch.
You may think that's a misnomer, a good piece of hitting, but when you foul a pitch off, that's as tough a pitch as this from Bullinger. Look how far outside it is. And you prolong the at-bat. That ball was 8 or 9 inches outside off the plate.
1-2. Little flare to center. McCray. One away, and Pagnozzi does not advance the runner. Good work by Bullinger. For those of you who were supposed to see the Houston-New York game, we said earlier it has been canceled due to the rain up in the Northeast. And we'll have the Cardinals and Cubs all day for you from Wrigley Field. And we're glad you're with us. Runner at second, 1 out now, and the batter is Gallego. So Bullinger a chance to pitch around that leadoff double because Pagnozzi did not advance the runner. Number 8 hitter up now, and the pitcher Stottlemyre on deck. A little high for ball 1. Opportunity for Mike Gallego to impress his new teammates with an RBI in this spot. Nearly had Gaetti straying too far.
I think the biggest difference between these two teams, the starting pitchers. We mentioned that at the top. Jim Riggleman has had all sorts of problems getting innings out of starting pitchers and getting starting pitchers into the 6th or 7th inning.
Ball for strike 1. Meanwhile, on the other side, Tim, for the Cardinals, 39 of the last 40 games, the starting pitcher has gone 5 or more innings for Tony La Russa.
And that's why Tony La Russa has every reason to smile. Jim Bullinger, to give you an idea now how many that is, the Cardinals staff going 39 out of 40 past the 5th inning. Jim Bullinger has started 12 games this year, and 7 of those games he hasn't gotten out of the 5th inning. So in microcosm, therein lies the problem with the Cubs. They're starting pitchers.
Gets a visit from Fergie Jenkins here in the 4th inning, trying to get through 4 and trying to get around a leadoff double. And hooked up in a battle with the number 8 hitter for the Cardinals, Mike Gallego. Gallego 1 out of 6 in a Cardinal uniform. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now strike 2 and a good pitch up and in. Will it be up to Stottlemyre, who waits on deck? Bullinger has Gallego set up at 1 and 2. 2 out. And another big strikeout, and again he gets Gallego as he did back in the 2nd. Might go for 2. And with 2 out and a runner at 2nd, that'll bring in Stottlemyre.
What Jim Bullinger is doing now, he is using all parts of the plate to get his outs. You remember that fastball up and in that Gallego fouled back? And now he goes after the slider, low and away and off the plate. You hear that about hitters using all parts of the field. You rarely hear it about pitchers who use all parts of the plate to get strikes on, and even those off the plate.
So leadoff double by Gaetti, and it's up to Stottlemyre to bring him in, ball 1. Stottlemyre only 1 RBI this season, but he does have 10 hits, and he is hitting .263. Pitch. 2-0. Stottlemyre dropped down a bunt his first time up. Two and 1. Stottlemyre cuts it loose. Right-handed pitcher, left-handed batter, so he exposes that pitching arm, his front side, when he steps in at the plate. Cardinals up by 3 here in the 4th inning. And now a 3-1 count on Stottlemyre with Clayton on deck.
Also exposing those legs, too. That slider almost nipping him on the back leg. But Bullinger falling behind Stottlemyre, 3-1.
Three balls, 1 strike. That is foul. A full count now as Stottlemyre Looks for a 2-out hit.
Todd probably thinking, don't get around much anymore. every pitch he has fouled off has been to the left side. Even when he knows the fastball is coming and choking up on the bat about 3 inches, he is not getting around on the Bullinger fastball.
Bullinger trying to get him and get around that leadoff double. Bullinger has struck out 4, walked 2. It's called selling the walk. And now with 2 on, 2 out, Clayton will bat.
That is about as animated taking a ball as you can get. Whoa, get out of there.
Stottlemyre trying to make sure that Joe West knew that pitch was inside, draws the 2-out walk, and now with 2 on, 2 out, Royce Clayton, who is 2 for 2, an 8 out of 18 lifetime against Bullinger, will try to add to the Cardinal lead. Can't blame a guy for trying.
Hey, acting counts.
Into right field, the hit. Here's a test for Sosa, a test for Gaetti. Sosa's throw no good. The runners end up at second and third, and it's 4-0 St. Louis. Sosa has got to throw out Gaetti at the plate.
Well, an older, experienced base runner, what they do is they cheat at second base. If you can't run as well as you once did, what you do is you take a bigger lead at second. However, Sammy Sosa's throw is offline. Had the throw been on the money, he's out. But credit Gaetti for getting there as fast as he could, because he did have that good jump. But I agree with you, Sammy Sosa, with 12 assists on the year, that throw was errant. He should have had it. That is not a difficult play for Sammy to make. Usually he makes that throw.
The strong arm showing the strength, but the accuracy counted. Wrong direction. Bullinger gone here in the 4th inning, and again he can't get through 5. Cardinals lead by 4. Hit second and third and 2 out. The new right-hander takes over for Bullinger, who could not get through 4 innings here this afternoon. Into center field, should score 2. Stottlemyre and Clayton score, and it's 6-0 St. Louis. Those runs charge to Bullinger. And you go back to the walk to Stottlemyre, and that's the reason the top of the order came to bat here in the 4th.
That was a key at bat by Stottlemyre. It was also, you go back to the throw by Sammy Sosa. Not only did he not get Gaetti at the plate, but by missing the cutoff man, he throws errantly to home. And that allowed Stottlemyre to go to third, Clayton to go to second. Otherwise, you may get Clayton in a rundown, hoping to trade a run for the out. All sorts of things going wrong for the Cubs in this inning.
2 out, a runner at first for Gant, and he takes a pitch low. You know, you can have a good ball club, but if the pieces don't fit together early on for the Cardinals, the pieces didn't fit together with this lineup. Now with Clayton leading off, Langford batting second, Gant hitting third, Jordan cleaning up. This is one of the hottest teams in baseball.
And stability with the starting pitchers, and a solid guy in the bullpen in Eckersley. They have so many elements, plus they play good defense.
That's the big addition for La Russa. Happy to get Gallego in the lineup to add to that defense. Now Myers falls behind Gant 2-1.
I think one of the definitions of a real good manager, or what makes a manager better than another guy, if you give Tony La Russa an edge, he takes advantage of it. Some mediocre managers, you give them the edge and they don't take advantage of it, but La Russa will, and he has the edge right now with this team.
2-1 to Gant. Now 3-1 with Langford at first and 2 out. Tony La Russa every day in spring training arrived at the Cardinals spring training complex at 6 a.m.
He works hard, and he works, more importantly, smart.
3-1 on Gant. Myers in trouble. That is a rocket. Langford will stop at second, and it's 2 on, 2 out. You make a bad pitch inside, and Gant will hop all over it.
Ron Gant is one of the most lethal pull hitters in the game, perhaps the most. This ball down and in. Watch him turn it around. That was a rope, folks.
So now 2 on, 2 out. The batter is Brian Jordan, who hit a 2-run homer his first time up. Good pitch, strike 1 over the inside corner. A 3-run inning for the Cardinals here in the 4th, and all 3 runs have scored with 2 out. And a 2-out walk to the pitcher, Stottlemyre, really got the Cubs into trouble. Caught the outside corner, strike 2. Rodney Myers came in, gave up the 2-run single to Langford, the base hit to Gant. Trying to end a long top half of the 4th inning. 0-2 to Jordan. 58-footer for ball 1.
Those are fun for catchers. Fine play by Tyler Houston, the catcher. He almost inadvertently blocks this. Watch. Sometimes you can't get out of the way of it.
That ball caught him.
Yeah.
And it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Jordan. 2 on, 2 out. To the shortstop, Fermin. It hits Langford, and the inning is over. And credit Fermin with a putout. So the inning is over. The Cardinals get 3 runs, all with 2 outs. They add 3 in the 4th. Into the bottom of inning number 4 at Wrigley, and the Cardinals lead by 6.
If you suffer from heartburn, you have some new choices. But read the labels. They're not the same. This
far, all St. Louis. Cubs trying to get it going. After losing yesterday 13-3 to the Cardinals, they trail by 6. Heart of the order, Grace, Sosa, and Magadan coming up. Grace flying to deep right his first time up and takes a strike. If you're Stottlemyre and if you're the Cardinals, you never feel safe or comfortable. The lead is only a half dozen. That's nothing.
Tell you, Joe, I played in 2 of the most unusual games in this ballpark. Back in 1976, I was on a Phillies team that trailed 13-2 with 1 out and nobody on in the 6th inning. Phillies won the game 18-16. And then in 1979, the Phillies scored 7 runs in the top of the 1st inning and won the game 23-22 on a Mike Schmidt homer after 10.
To Gaetti, backs up, gets away with it. Good throw, 1 out. Back to the top of the inning and the play that ended the top of the 4th.
Tell you what kind of team baseball the Cardinals are playing. Ray Langford figuring, well, this is an out anyway. I might as well give my teammate a hit, Brian Jordan. So he was hit by the ball.
So 9 hits for the Cardinals and the put out 4 for Maine. And a smile on the face of Langford, who I'm sure is a bit embarrassed. So Grace grounds out to 3rd, and with 1 out, nobody on, here comes Sosa. A ball from Stottlemyre.
That was a terrific play, by the way, by Gary Gaetti, going to his right, setting his feet, and throwing out Grace.
Off the end of the bat, into left field, back at the track. Gant leaps, can't get it. Off the wall. Sosa in at second and will stop with a 1-out double. Sammy didn't get all of it, but he got enough and has the first Chicago hit of the day.
Looks like a slider from Todd Stottlemyre. Yep. That down zone. He is lethal on that ball down in the strike zone. Watch Gant. He looks at the vines, sets his feet, and jumps. And the ball just over the webbing. It was a well-timed jump. But he just had too high to go, and Sosa has the first hit of the ball game for Chicago.
He's at second with 1 out for Magadan. Cubs trying to get it working here in the 4th inning against Stottlemyre. Magadan 0 for 1. And behind on the count 0-1. Usually a tough out. Sosa the 1-out double. A ball and a strike on Magadan.
When Dave Magadan's hitting the ball well, and he's not right now because of the hand problems that he's had, he's a predictable hitter. He hits the fastball the other way and pulls the breaking ball. That's vintage Magadan.
Into left field for Gant. Sosa will stay at second, 2 out. Folks, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without express written consent. And with 2 out, Magadan 0 for 2. Runner at second for Luis Gonzalez. Last year, the Cubs picked up Luis Gonzalez and their #1 catcher, Scott Service, in a trade with Houston. Sent Rick Wilkins to the Astros. They got 2 regular players for the price of 1. Gonzalez into center field. Langford right there. A 1-out double. Stottlemyre pitches around it. And after 4 here at Wrigley, Stottlemyre and the Cardinals in control. They lead by 6.
In the past 2 years, the Oldsmobile Aurora has earned quite a reputation for itself. As a force to be reckoned with in the luxury performance market.
Is Andy McPhail, the president and CEO of the Cubs, like to be a fly on that briefcase and hear what's going on up there.
The trading deadline only 2 weeks away. Actually 3 weeks, I guess, huh?
Had a chance to talk to Mark Grace yesterday, talking about the possibility of being traded. He brought it up. Said if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to worry about it.
All sorts of rumors at this time of year, and baseball players obviously privy to most of those rumors. Problem is distinguishing rumors from fact. Mark Grace mentioned in a trade to the Cleveland Indians, but now that the Indians have picked up Mark Carrion from the San Francisco Giants for left-handed reliever Jim Poole, that trade is probably squelched, but you never know.
1 ball, 1 strike on Gaetti. Broken bat, line drive, Sandberg, 2 out. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, don't miss Chip Carey, Dave Winfield, and Steve Lyons for a full half hour of the latest news and information from around Major League Baseball. Coverage begins 1 half hour before game time. Check local listings and join them. Bagnazzi stands in with 2 out, nobody on. Tom 1 out of 2. And takes a strike from Myers. This is Rodney Myers pitching, not Randy Myers pitching, who in his stint with the Chicago Cubs did a wonderful job as closer for whoever his manager would be that given year. I was shocked when they let Randy Myers walk away from Chicago. He's now with the Orioles.
I think the reason cited from Ed Lynch and Andy McPhail was that Randy had a poor second half of the season last year. He certainly did. There's Ed Lynch, the general manager. And certainly Randy did. Randy says that his shoulder was sore. It's not sore this year. He was back to getting guys out.
Into right field, a base hit for Pagnazzi with 2 out. Cardinals have been tough today with 2 out. All 6 runs driven in with 2 down. Now a base hit to bring in Gallego. We talked about it during an Orioles game that we did. My feeling is if you find a guy that isn't bothered by the size of the ballpark and the wind and can close games at Wrigley Field, I think you try to hang on to him. And the Cubs are trying to fill in. Turk Wendell's done a nice job. You and I both like Terry Adams. Think he's going to be a very good one.
A lot. He's being groomed as the closer.
So here and now, they've got to miss Myers.
Yeah, I mean, financial restraints, however, are so involved in organizations' decisions on whether to keep guys that they have to dole out $6 million to and still have to keep under a sensible fiscal umbrella.
0-1 on Gallego. Now a ball and a strike. Andy McPhail had been with the Twins. Now with the Cubs.
Remarkable job over there. The Twins win the World Championship in 1987. McPhail was at the helm. 1991 over Atlanta. McPhail was at the helm.
Deep in the hole for Mean to Sandberg. The force out ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Cards have left 5 halfway through it. St. Louis out in front of Chicago by 6.
To AC.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field. Billy Williams, the hitting instructor, the Hall of Famer, went into the Hall in 1987.
And one of his idiosyncrasies as a hitter, he'd put a half a stick of gum in his mouth, and before every at bat, he would spit it out and hit the gum, and he never missed until today. He said, I missed it. We had him do that for fun, a little flashback.
Oh, I hit it.
All right.
1 for 2.
Yeah, it's funny from a catcher standpoint. What a great hitter he was. Sweet swinging Billy Williams. And that's exactly what he did. He would spit the gum up in the air and then swing the bat. And, Joe, I never saw him miss the gum. You figure if he can't miss the gum, how's he going to miss something about 60 times bigger than the gum? And he rarely missed that either.
Well, he hit 426 career home runs. Talked to Bob Gibson the other day. He said of all the outs he had to get in his big league career, you're looking at one of the toughest.
I can verify that.
Here's Tyler Houston leading it off for Chicago in the bottom of the 5th inning and takes a strike. It'll be the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. Most likely Houston, Fermin, and then a pinch hitter for Rodney Myers. Houston struck out his first time and now rips one foul. Strike 2. Tyler Houston leaving the world champion Braves, but I am sure happy to be in Chicago and getting a chance to play. And he has a 1-out, or I should say leadoff base hit. He's 1 out of 2, and he's on to start the bottom of the 5th.
And Tyler had no place to play in Atlanta with Javier Lopez. Eddie Perez, a catcher that the Braves think highly of, lines this one back through the originator. Only hit number 2 for Chicago in this ball game. Trying to muster something here in the 5th.
Leadoff man is on for the 2nd time today for Chicago. Here's Fermin. 0 for 1 as a Cub. Takes ball 1. Felix Fermin, a guy who has always wanted more playing time and was not going to get it this year in Seattle.
Not with Alex Rodriguez, who will be there for about 15 years.
Clayton only playing first, 1 out. Houston at second base with 1 out. And the pinch hitter will be Terry Shumpert.
Talk about one of the glowing stars on the horizon. Alex Rodriguez, the shortstop of the Seattle Mariners, who is yet to turn 21. He is still 20 years old.
American League All-Star and just shocking people throughout the American League at just how good he is.
I like how Baseball America put it. They call him Junior Junior.
He's picked up a lot of the load that was left there when Griffey Jr. went down with the injury, and all of a sudden you look at the standings and the Mariners only 3 games behind Texas. Rodriguez has been a big part of it. Tanyan Sturtz, not one of the former cast members of F Troop, but a bullpenner for the Chicago Cubs, loosening up for the Cubs down the left field line. The American League West, the Mariners have closed the gap, trailed by only 3 games. And they have closed down that gap without Griffey,
like they did last year.
Quickly strike 2 on the pinch hitter Shumpert.
Last year Junior missed 10 weeks of the season in Seattle in one of the really heart-thumping finishes of American League history. No Randy Johnson this year either for the better part of the year.
Runner at second with 1 out. 0-2 on Shumpert. Still 0-2. Terry Shumpert, in a short time with the Chicago Cubs, has 3 game-winning RBIs. Drove in the game winner in his Cubs debut. Former Kansas City Royal dealing with Stottlemyre. 0-2 pitch. 2 out. Let's go back to Hollywood and go back to Chip Caray for an update. Hello, Chip.
Hello, Joe. Boy, what a pitcher's duel in Atlanta. This time it's Javier Lopez, though, against Kevin Brown. A 2-run homer to right center field for Lopez, making it 3-0 Atlanta. Only the 4th homer allowed by Brown this year. John Smoltz, a 1-hitter through 6. Kurt Abbott led off the game with a safety. That's the only hit he's allowed.
Thank you, Chip. In the National League East, Atlanta has a 6-game lead over Montreal. And leading Florida today. Here's McRae, runner at second, 2 out. In the NL East, Expos 6 games back. Mets in 3rd place. They've been playing a lot better. And the Phillies bringing up the rear, 15.5 out. To the left side for Clayton. Funny hop, stays with it, inning over. A leadoff single. Stottlemyre gets around it. He is in control in Chicago. And after 5, 6-0 St. Louis. Wrigley Field. Seen here on opening day in 1963. Built in 1914. The 3rd oldest ballpark in baseball. Hosted the All-Star game in 1947. Wrigley Field's defining moment still Babe Ruth's called shot off Charlie Root in Game 3 of the 1932 World Series.
That's where Root for the Cubbies came in.
Ruth off Root. Stottlemyre leads it off for the Cardinals in the 6th inning. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count. 3rd oldest to both Fenway and Tiger Stadium. Wonder if Wrigley Field will last longer than the other 2. Into center field, falling in a hurry, and Stottlemyre is on with a leadoff hit. We now know that Todd Stottlemyre plays golf left-handed, as he took that off the shoe tops and into center for a leadoff hit.
Almost literally off the shoe tops. Get down, get down.
You are in a singing mood in Chicago.
A broken bat single, and I guarantee you all hitters love to trade bats for hits any day.
There is no doubt. Here is Royce Clayton, who has not had to trade a bat all day, and he's 3 for 3. A couple of RBIs, a run scored. His base hit that drove in a run with 2 out in the 4th inning did in the starter Bullinger. Good fastball for strike 1.
Can't help but think of that golf shot and think of Ray Floyd, who's playing. As a matter of fact, he was tied for the seniors tournament up in Dearborn, Michigan, and a very close friend of the equipment manager of the Chicago Cubs, Yosh Kawano. Yosh has been the equipment manager of the Cubs since 1947, and Ray Floyd used to work out with a ball club here at Wrigley Field back in the early 60s.
Still shows up every once in a while.
But a big hello from Yosh to Ray. He said we'd do that today, and we've done it.
1-2 on Clayton. That's foul. Out of play right side. Royce Clayton, predominantly a hitter who will go up the middle or the other way. His outfield hits by direction. He's pulled 18 hits into left, 21 up the middle, 24 into right. And that being the case, the Cubs play him to hit to right. Give him a lot of the left field line. Stottlemyre at first with nobody out. 2-2 on Clayton.
That's certainly how you hit for average using the opposite field. But when you think of most home run hitters, they were all opposite field hitters too. Think about it. Aaron certainly so in the early part of his career.
Up the middle, Sandberg, the flip for the out. Good play, 1 away, as Sandberg took a hit away from Clayton.
That was really a fine play by Sandberg, not by him getting to the ball, but the flip after he made the play. Watch him throw the ball back across his body. A very difficult little toss right there.
Look at Stottlemyre going in, spikes up.
Only because he doesn't know how to run the bases. Nothing dirty there, but pitchers, they don't know what they're doing when they're sliding.
One on, one out for Langford. There's ball one.
But you think about Willie Mays when he moved to Candlestick, he had a bunch of home runs into that right center field slot. Eddie Matthews went the other way. Billy Williams, we've talked about him, a left field hitter. So not only do you hit for average going the other way, but home run hitters do it too. Now, does that mean you can't pull the ball? Of course it doesn't. But when you're hitting the ball properly the other way, that means your shoulder's in the proper position, and that's what Royce Clayton's done today. 2 hits to right.
The classic example of that in today's era, Mike Piazza. I don't know if there's anybody stronger going into center or into right center than Piazza.
Exactly.
1 on, 1 out, a 2-0 count on Langford. That caught the strike zone of the outside part. 2-1. The numbers for Tanyan Sturtz. Tanyan Sturtz throwing to Tyler Houston. My name is Joe. I got ripped off. 3-1 the count.
We could change it to Tanyan Buck if you like.
That's not bad. How about Tanyan Carey? I'm thinking of changing my last name to Carey. See there? Look, J-O-E. Joey and Timmy. Langford down the left field line, out of play. 3-1. Now 3-2. And then there's Jack.
Yeah, I think Jack would have something to say if you decided your name would be changed to Carey.
I don't think he'd mind Tanyan, though.
No. However, Harry wouldn't be upset if you changed your name to Carey.
He took his booth up here today.
That's right. And that's tough to do in this town.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Clayton running, ball 4, and it's 2 on, 1 out. We took his booth. We've got his fish net up here waiting for a foul ball.
You're waiting for it. I'm out of here. No foul balls for me. I've already given.
Any foul ball that gets up this high has got something on it.
It's yours. I'll guarantee you. All foul balls for the rest of our career together, yours. Take them.
All right.
Either you or Steve Horn.
I'll take them. Look at this. High atop Wrigley Field. With our big Fox Sports banner.
Hello.
2 on, 1 out. And Gant with an RBI chance here in the 6th. Looks at ball 1. Two on, 1 out. Gant has a hit and 2 strikeouts. Takes ball 2. Runners in scoring position today. The Cardinals hitting .500 and the Cubs 0 for. And a chance for Gant here.
Joe, it makes it particularly salient because all of the hits, for the most part, by the Cardinals have come with 2 outs. So for the most part, their runs have not been cheaply scored today. A lot of times in the early innings, you could score a run with an infield ground out, a guy at third, less than 2 outs. Sacrifice fly. Not so for the Cardinals. They have had big 2-out hits this afternoon.
3-0 on Gant. Took it over the outside part. 3-1. Good pitch on 3-0 to a guy like Gant. Tanyan Sturtz in some 6th inning trouble. Bases loaded for Jordan. That'll load him up, and Jim Riggleman will send Fergie Jenkins out to talk to Sturtz. And these have been 2 long days for the Chicago Cubs and their pitching staff.
And Fergie Jenkins, you're right. I mean, one of the worst things that Fergie can go out and tell a pitcher, you've got to be so frustrated talking to a pitcher about his control, because he was one of truly the control-oriented power pitchers of his day. He rarely walked a lot of batters.
and yet he had power to strike him out too, as Kent Bottenfield now gets up to loosen in the Cub bullpen.
The last guy the Cubs want to see at the plate with the bases loaded is Brian Jordan. He's already hit a 2-run homer today, and this season, with the bases loaded, 7 out of 10. And again, Sturtz falls behind. Hitting over 400 with runners in scoring position. Jordan, for the year, hitting .305. Important for Sturtz to try to get him one out. Double play ball ends the threat. Into left center field. At the track, at the wall, grand slam, Jordan. 10-0 St. Louis. Back onto the playing field, out of the bleachers, and Jordan has had a 3-home-run series, hit 2 today, and here it comes, and there it goes.
Looked like a slider out over the plate. National League pitchers are going to finally find out that that is not the way to pitch Brian Jordan. He loves the ball away, and yet everybody thinks you can slip that slider down and away from him. You have got to crowd him and press him inside. That's how you get him out. Bust him inside. You do not get him out trying to go away. Grand slammer given up by Sturtz after 2 walks. And those walks have really killed the Cubs today.
Second career grand slam for Brian Jordan. You're talking about a guy who has played 379 games in the big leagues. That's it. He's still learning to play at this level. And he is showing signs, as he has in parts of other years, that he is legit. He's taken over that cleanup role for the Cardinals, and no one else did anything in that spot, anything close to what Jordan has done. And he has had a 6 RBI day and a 3-hit day here at Wrigley.
And he becomes the second most important Jordan in the city of Chicago today.
The other one just left the bank. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Mabry. Had a bad 2 days for the Cardinals here at Wrigley. 9 home runs, 7 of them yesterday. And now a 3-2 count on Mabry. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on, and the pop-up. Comes a batter too late for Sturtz. Should be the second out for Mean. 2 gone. Well, this is not always a battle on the field. It's a battle in the seats, a good-natured rivalry. In the last 2 games, the Cub fans have not had much fun with those dressed in red sitting around them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is more or less a friendly rivalry right now, but it was not always the case. Cardinals and the Cubs in the 60s, as a matter of fact, a bitter rivalry. A lot of guys knocked down, a lot of guys hit, and on the field it was a battle almost every time you faced Leo DeRocha's Cubs.
Gaetti into right field, right at Sosa. A leadoff hit by Stottlemyre, the pitcher. Back-to-back walks to Langford and Gant. Jordan dialed long distance, went deep the grand slam, and the Cardinals lead by 10.
Those guys with a 10-0 lead react very, very positively. I know what you're getting at, however. A lot of pitchers don't continue to concentrate. There's a natural lapse in concentration and focus. It seems to be the word of the 90s. One of the words of the 90s.
How about our men in trivia question for today?
What is it?
Who are the 4 Cubs who have won National League home run titles since 1960? Grace hit 16 home runs a year ago. He has only 3 in 1996. He's behind on the count 0-1.
This should have to include Andre Dawson into that group. He had 48, I believe, in 86 or 87.
Into right field. Grace. Jordan. Track. Wall. 2 out. Grace has hit 2 drives into right. Both have fallen short. And he's 0 for 3. Along with the power and the hitting, you're looking at a very good right fielder.
Watch the right hand go out for the wall. The wall is not there, and he makes the one-handed play.
There's some shots out to the outfield here at Wrigley where you can reach for the wall, not feel the wall, wait for the ball, and never catch it as it lands in that basket out in front of those in the bleachers here at Wrigley. Here's Sosa. You do not need the basket for Sosa. When he connects, they fly. He's 1 out of 2 with a double. It's a basket. I don't know if that's too. Well, just watch. Center field, it stays in play. Talking about the basket, and it hits the basket.
Off the basket. A tisket, a tasket. A green basket. Check this out. Hit the bottom of the basket. Ray Lankford doing all he can, but he runs out of room. Had that basket not been there, it's possible that Lankford could have made the catch, and one of those unruly bleacher bums throwing a cup of beer on Ray Lankford, and that's one of the reasons that that basket was put up there to begin with.
That's what I was about to say, right? When Sosa, is it for the home run ball, or is it to keep the fans from interfering with a ball such as that? And I think the latter is the reason, and now they're going to try to find the fan out in the bleachers in right center field.
Second base umpire Jerry Lane out there, and security has come down, and rightly so. They are ejecting whoever threw that beer. Tough to get the right guy, I would imagine. Or
you know the Cub fans are out there pointing at the Cardinal guy. You know the Cub, it's him, the guy in the red shirt. They're going to try to find whoever it was that did it. Just look for the most guilty face.
Yep, she said, I didn't do it. No, not me. Here it is. Maybe we can find the culprit. There he is, the fourth from the left right there. He's the guy. Justice is served.
Lankford was almost served. Justice is hurt. Here's ball 1 outside to Magadan. He's proud of his delinquent act. And he's leading a 10-0 game. Magadan in the air to center for Lankford. Should end the inning. It does. Stottlemyre throwing a shutout through 6. 10-0 Cardinals. Back after this from your local station.
You're watching Fox Saturday Baseball.
Nazi moved off the plate. New shortstop into the game for Chicago. Show you that after this pitch to Pagnazzi into shallow left field for Gonzalez. 1 up, 1 down. Jose Hernandez has come into the game and taken over at short. And moving from short to second base, Felix Fermin. So Fermin moves over. Sandberg has the rest of the day off, and Jose Hernandez, who's playing short, will bat second. There's Jose. Ozzie Smith, the day off today. Here's Gallego grounding to Magadan. 2 out. Talked to Ozzie about this rivalry. He's seen many Cub-Cardinal games over the years, and here are his feelings about this rivalry.
They're always fun because, you know, when we come to Wrigley Field here, half of the people in the stand are Cardinal fans, and then you go to St. Louis and half of the people in Busch Stadium are Cub fans. You know, so it's always been a great rivalry. I think it's a friendly rivalry, though. You know, when you take Cardinal fans and Cubs fans, and they can go back and forth in the stands, but after it's all over, and they'll buy each other a beer and have fun.
Well, a beer was the reason 2 Cubs fans were ejected.
Ozzie, the day off today. He will play tomorrow. Stoudemire cutting loose, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Last half inning, a fan ejected for tossing a beer onto Ray Lankford. And the ball hit by Sosa off the basket in dead center field. 2 out, nobody on. Good fastball for strike 2. Cardinals have been retired in order only once, back in the 3rd, and Sturt's trying to do it to him here in the 7th. A ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. When we talk about Stoudemire hitting, what's he done? A sacrifice bunt, a walk and a run scored, and a single that started the 4-run rally in the 6th. Can win a lot of ball games doing that.
Well, you might say, well, you can't make too much out of it. It's a 10-0 ball game in the 7th inning, but that walk to Todd Stoudemire in the 4th inning was the biggest at-bat of this game. That prolonged the inning. It was a 3-0 game at the time, and they gotten Stoudemire. Bullinger gotten Stoudemire. Not only does he stay in the game, but the Cubs bat 3-0 game in the 4th inning.
Instead, it ended up 6-0 after that half inning. And again, it's 3-2 on Stoudemire. So he's not one of these pitchers that walks up with a bat, with swinging the bat the furthest thing from his mind. He's a battler, and he has a full count now. It was 1-2. And what a cut. Guy leading 10-0 going up there, and he'll need a rub down after that swing. Cardinals go in order for the 2nd time today. Time to stretch. Cardinals lead by 10. Front, everybody's had a stretch here at Wrigley Field. Our 7-11 game summary. Jordan, 2 home runs, 1 a 2-run shot, 1 a grand slam, 6 RBIs. Clayton 3 out of 4 today. Stoudemire 6 shutout innings. And the Cubs hitless, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Bottom of the 7th inning, and for the Cubs, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters, Gonzalez, Houston, and Fermin. Brian Jordan, a career high for RBIs in a game. Coming into this year, his best 5 in a game. He has 6 today. Gonzalez looks at ball 1. And Bob Patterson, the only Chicago reliever who didn't pitch in yesterday's game, getting loose for the Cubs here in the 7th. The pop-up into left center field. Lankford over to get it. Leadoff man is gone. The answer to our Men in Trivia question. 4 Cubs who have won National League home run titles since 1960.
Dave Kingman, another one. We mentioned Dawson.
Banks and Sandberg.
Ernie. I didn't realize Ernie won it in 1960. Ryan Sandberg.
Here's Tyler Houston with 1 out, nobody on. Andre Dawson had some great years here in Chicago.
I'll say.
1 ball, 1 strike. Dawson, a player who just wanted to play on grass and play at Wrigley. He said, pay me what you will. 1-2 on Houston.
That's right. Put in any number. Don't make it too low, but any number. And I think the number was $500,000 in a day that millions were being paid to players of his caliber.
Still 1-2 on Houston. Through the entire day, with all the runs being put up by the Cardinals and the pitching that hasn't done the job for Chicago, you have to look at Todd Stoudemire and be impressed. Pitching here in the 7th inning with a shutout, leading 10-0, and he's allowed only 3 Chicago hits. 2-2 now on Houston. Houston trying to get on in front of Fermin. Barely missed, 3-2. Out in front and into the Cardinal dugout. And the Cub fans have something to cheer about. Right at Andy Bennis. And Louis Alicea.
Andy, the winner in yesterday's ball game, and his brother Alan will be pitching tomorrow against Maury Telemaco of the Cubs.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Houston, a base hit. Well, I think the Cubs are really going to be happy with a trade they made with Atlanta to bring Tyler Houston to Chicago. They seem to steal him. Talk about the numbers situation, and Houston, a former #1 pick, ends up in Chicago. There's the Firehouse, built in 1915, a year after Wrigley Field was constructed. At the time it was called Weigman Field.
In the Federal League. And they figured, well, we've got a ballpark across the street, so we might as well build a firehouse. What if something happens to the ballpark and burns down like Fenway Park did back in the late 20s?
This is the only Federal League park still being used. 1 on, 1 out. 0-1 the count on Fermin. Into left field. Should be a hit. Gant can't get it. Houston will end up at third and might score. He will. And the Cubs are on the board. They trail by 9. And again, something to cheer about here for the Cub fans at Wrigley.
These are some of the greatest fans in the country. You rarely hear ball players booed in this ballpark. Ron Gant over. The ball takes a tricky hop. It kind of shoots toward the line. And the ball gets by Ron, allowing Houston to score easily. And an RBI for Fermin.
So the RBI double, his first Cub hit. He's 1 for 3. And here's Scott Bullitt. He'll come off the bench and bat for Tanyan Sturtz. So Houston, the 1-out hit. Fermin, the double to drive him in.
Something weird just happened. Jerry Lane, the second base umpire, called for the ball, and Fermin is standing at second base saying, why'd you call for the ball? I don't want the ball. I've already played in the National League. I think Jerry Lane thinks it's his first National League hit. But Fermin played for 3 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates before going to the American League, and Felix is standing there saying, hey, there's the ball, and what's the big deal about the ball? Kind of odd.
Jerry Lane just trying to be nice.
Yeah, Jerry's just trying to be a nice guy, getting the ball, thinking it's his first National League hit, and Felix is saying, hey, I've been in the National League before.
Already been here in 1987. That's when he came up with the Pirates. He's at second with 1 out. Strike 2. Still think Fermin might want his first Cub double. First Cub hit. Okay. Maybe the mantle just a little too crowded. Don't have room for it, Jerry. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bullet foul. So far for Stottlemyre, a 97-pitch day.
Tell you, when you get blown out like the Cardinals have done to the Cubs the last 2 days, 13-3 yesterday, 10-1 today, it's tough for a starting pitcher in this ballpark tomorrow, especially like a youngster, Maury Telemaco.
Still 1-2.
You try to blot everything out of your mind, but you realize that here's a team that scored at least 23 runs on 31 hits the last 2 days, and you've got to face it. Same wind conditions, one would assume.
Runner at second, 1 out. Bullet pinch hitting, a 1-2 count. 2-2. We would like to welcome those of you for bonus coverage. Those who have been watching Atlanta take care of the Marlins 3-0 on the 2-hitter by John Smoltz. His 15th win of the year. Here it's 10-1. And Bullitt, a pinch hitter, strikes out against Stottlemyre, who has been in control here this afternoon at Wrigley. Hitting stars for the Cardinals. Jordan, a 2-run homer in the first, a grand slam in the 6th inning. Clayton has 3 hits for Tony La Russa's crew. And 6 of the 10 runs, the first 6 of the 10 runs, all scored with 2 out. Runner at second, 2 out. Here is Brian McRae, and there's a base hit to left. Here comes from me. Score without a play, and it's 10-2 St. Louis. Brian just stuck the bat out, poked it through the left side, and a 2-out RBI hit to make it an 8-run game. That is the first Chicago hit with a runner in scoring position. They are 1 out of 8 today. A big reason why they trail by 8 here in the 7th. Jose Hernandez is first at bat of the day. Jose Hernandez, a guy, Tim, who last year hit 13 home runs and 245 at bats. I don't think they can count on more power from Hernandez.
Yeah.
He has only 3 this year. That's strike 2.
Talked about the injuries for both sides and both teams incurring injuries, but a key injury for the Cubs, Ray Sanchez, their fine shortstop, being out for 5 weeks. Hernandez has tried to fill that role. Sometimes it's not the injuries that you have, but at what positions those injuries come and how deep you are in them.
That for Stottlemyre, strikeout number 6. But the Cubs get on the board in the 7th inning. 2 runs on 3 hits. They leave a man, and after 7, 10-2 St. Louis.
Running out of underwear?
Fire Engine Company number 78, erected in 1915. And here's what goes on inside Fire Engine Company number 78. I hope that's a Nielsen firehouse. Watching what takes place across the street.
A little airtime, huh, fellas? Not a bad deal.
Come on, guys, wave or something. Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's better.
I kind of thought they may have had the sound turned down and we're listening to Harry or something, but now we know the sound is up. I had a best friend who lived out beyond the right field wall on Sheffield Avenue. You talk about a great place to live, top floor. Get out of bed in the morning, open up the blinds, look into Wrigley Field. Doesn't get any better. Here's Bob Patterson, a record of 3-2 and busy. He takes over for the Cubs here in the 8th inning with the Cardinals leading 10-2. Clayton's had a big day, and the average up to 284. Now 3 out of 5 as Sosa puts it away. For Patterson, this is appearance number 46, which ties him with Brad Klontz of the Atlanta Braves for most in the league. Here's Miguel Mejia. Interesting story. Young Dominican player who was taken in the Rule 5 draft from the Baltimore organization. Only 20 years old. He's had only a handful of at-bats. The youngest, second youngest active player. Now he's turned 21 since the season began, second to Mr. Shortstop Rodriguez in Seattle. And the Cardinals have carried Mejia all year long with the hope that someday he will be a center field leadoff hitter with the Cardinals. Right now he's not ready. He's never played higher than single-A baseball.
And he can flat fly. And if you send him back to Baltimore, or if you try to demote him to a minor league, like to Louisville, the AAA affiliate of the Cardinals, or to Arkansas or St. Petersburg, one of the minor league teams, well, then you lose Mejia unless you can work out a trade with the Baltimore Orioles. But they like him well enough and can find enough for him to do late inning pinch running and things like that. He can flat fly.
Not timid on the bases. He is still the last guy on an opening day roster to get a hit, and his streak continues. 2 out, nobody on for Gant. Unloads on strike 1. Rick Honeycutt getting ready for the Cardinals in their bullpen. Gant up, 2 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 1 strike. Showed you the name of McGee, and he waits on deck. Another one of the great stories in baseball in 1996. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gant. There's Rick Honeycutt. And there's Willie McGee. What a pinch hitter and a spot starter he's been for the Cardinals. And what a love affair there is between the Cardinal fans and McGee. Ooh, just low, 2-2. McGee, of course, made his name with the Cardinals. Gant strikes out. We'll see McGee later. We are finished in the top of the 8th inning. Will Honeycutt take over? We'll tell you when we come back. In the bottom of the 8th, the Cardinals lead by 8.
Really comfortable flow. By Honey Frosted Wheaties. Frosted Flakes kick with Wheaties energy for a grand slam taste. And by the Michelin X1, because so much is riding on your tires.
We are ready for the bottom of the 8th inning. The Cardinals out in front 10-2, and a new pitcher is Stottlemyre is finished after 7. On 2 runs on 6 hits, walked 2, struck out 6. The veteran Rick Honeycutt, he has been outstanding out of the bullpen for Tony La Russa.
Tony La Russa used him so well against left-handed batters in the American League with the Oakland Athletics for years. Used in tandem with Dennis Eckersley to set up the Eck many times. But in here, because the Cubs have 2 out of 3 left-handed batters hitting in the 8th. And there's the La Russa connection. 9 former coaches and players who are now with the Cardinals. 4 coaches, 5 players. Tony La Russa, very loyal guy, but he said, hey, if the guy can't do the job, no sense in being loyal. And all the guys that he has brought over have done the job.
Honeycutt starts out Mark Grace with strike 1. Honeycutt has allowed only 5 hits in his last 13 appearances, covering 11 innings. Started out very slowly, but as the weather has heated up, so has Honeycutt. 1 ball, 1 strike on Grace with Sosa and Magadan to follow. There's a strike as it tied up Grace, 1-2. Honeycutt trying to keep Grace hitless today. He is 0 for 3. He's flied deep to right twice. There's a base hit. Nice easy swing and a base hit to start the 8th inning. An entirely new outfield for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 8th inning. New left fielder is Danny Schaefer. Played left field in yesterday's game. In center field is Miguel Mejia, the 21-year-old. And in right field, Willie McGee. So a new outfield behind the new pitcher, Honeycutt. Leadoff man is on, and here is Sosa. Sosa, a pair of doubles today, 2 out of 3. Cubs trailing by 8. Grace on with a leadoff base hit. T.J. Matthews, a right-hander, getting ready for the Cardinals in their bullpen. Double play ball. Gallego will take it himself for 3. 2 out, nobody on. So the Cubs just cannot get anything started here today. So Honeycutt gives up the hit to the left-hander and gets Sosa on the double play. There's Jamie Navarro. What does he drive to and from the ballpark? That.
And he hopes that he gets that started after the game.
A mid-30s Ford. He pitched a shutout here on Thursday night. His first shutout of the year, is 2nd in the National League. And that's his transportation.
How old is that car? That car is older than the vines here at Wrigley Field. The vines were planted by Bill Veeck back in 1938, and that car is a 1935 Ford. 1935 Jamie Drive.
And they're both alive and well, the Ivy and the car.
Yeah, we think. It hasn't started yet.
And Navarro, he's alive and well.
Yes, he is.
As consistent a right-hander as the Cubs have, along with Steve Traxel. 1 ball, 1 strike, and the pinch hitter Leo Gomez. 2 balls and a strike. Gomez batting here for Magadan, hitting .252, 13 home runs. And predominantly for the first half of the season, he has been the everyday third baseman for Jim Riggleman because of the injuries to Magadan. Now 3-1 on Gomez. Kent Bottenfield, who has been so good since his call up from AAA Iowa, getting ready for the 9th inning. 3-1 to the left side, high hop Gaetti. The leadoff hit, the double play, now the ground out. A good inning for the veteran Rick Honeycutt. After 8 at Wrigley, Cardinals lead Chicago 10-2. A couple of changes for the Cubs. Gomez stays in the game. He's playing third. Taking over on the mound is the right-hander Kent Bottenfield, and he pitches to Willie McGee. Bottenfield, the ERA just over 1, and McGee, strike 1. This has been one of the biggest stories, if not the biggest story for the Cardinals this season. Maybe bigger than Ozzie at the start. Then Ozzie announces his retirement. That's taken center stage, and he will be next. We'll see them all. But McGee, and the love affair between McGee and the fans in St. Louis, second to none. He's been so effective. 6 pinch hits, 6 pinch RBIs, and hitting .361 after the 6th inning. .375 with runners on base. MVP for the Cardinals in 1985. Ahead on the count, 2-1.
Led the National League twice in batting average, 1985, 1989. Yeah, he's been effective this year and been affected by the crowd response.
He's almost embarrassed. He's such a humble person. Such a wonderful professional athlete. He grounds out to start the 9th inning. And from one big hand to another, McGee grounds out, and a nice hand from both Cardinal and Cub fans for Ozzie. Last stop as an active player for Ozzie Smith in the city of Chicago. Everywhere the Cardinals go, the home ball club and home ball park and hometown fans give Ozzie a nice send-off. They honored him before today's game. And here at Wrigley, the Ozzie chant. 1-1. 13 Gold Gloves, 15-time All-Star. And approaching 2,500 hits. 2-1. Two balls and a strike. Bottenfield. Ozzie up the middle, the base hit. So Ozzie on with 1 out here in the 9th inning. And back to the bench as Mark Sweeney will pinch hit.
Can't help, Joe, but go back to the late 50s when the great Stan Musial got his 3,000th hit in this ballpark, a double down the left field line. Similar reaction that day, one would imagine, as today with Ozzie Smith and his final trip here to Chicago.
1 on, 1 out. Ozzie aboard with a one-out hit. The batter is Mark Sweeney. Pinch hitting for Gaetti. Gaetti a double, a walk, 1 out of 3. Cardinals' #1 left-handed pinch hitter is Mark Sweeney. Way out in front. Good pitch by Bottenfield. Strike 2. Bottenfield's been around. He was leading the American Association in saves when he got called up.
With Pittsburgh and then with the expansion Rockies, this breaking ball stays outside. And Sweeney in the hole.
A ball and 2 strikes on Sweeney. Might be 2. 1-6-3. Nicely turned by Bottenfield, Hernandez, and on to Grace. 1 hit in the inning. Bottom of the 9th inning. Ozzie got a hit. Cubs bat, they trail by 8.
Boston Market, the place that made hot hand-carved Boston Carver sandwiches famous, proudly announces the new
Cubs bat, bottom of the 9th inning. The Cardinals out in front 10-2. Mike Gallego switches from second base. He's playing third. Over at second base, Louis Alicea. Schaefer switches in from left field to play first base, and Mark Sweeney is out in left. And the new pitcher, T.J. Matthews.
T.J. Matthews, the 3rd Cardinal pitcher of the afternoon. Stottlemyre going 7. Honeycutt 1. Cardinals have outscored the Cubs 23-5 the last 2 days.
Leading by 8 here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Gonzalez leads it off. Ball 1. In case you're worrying about it, T.J. Matthews will bat in the #5 spot in the Cardinal order. 1 ball, 1 strike. When Dennis Eckersley went down with tightness in his elbow, T.J. Matthews was the closer. And T.J. is the closer of the future. There's Eck. 2 balls and a strike. Louis Gonzalez today is 0 for 3. Hit the ball hard once, line to center back in the 4th. Into right center field, a leadoff base hit. And Gonzalez on for the first time today. McGee gets it back in. And there's 1 on for Tyler Houston. Who has 2 hits today, 2 out of 3. 9 out of 14 as a Cub. Leadoff man is on. Houston. Ball 1. A little low, 2-0. Cardinals trying to win today to go to their high water mark for the year. 6 games over 500. The Cubs, if they do not rally and rally big, will fall to 6 under 500. And 6 games behind the Cardinals in the NL Central.
And a half a game in front of the Houston Astros, who were rained out in New York this afternoon. Astros and the Mets will play a doubleheader tomorrow afternoon at Shea Stadium. A big psychological lift for the Cardinals.
3-0 pitch. A base hit and a walk. And a good start to the 9th inning for Chicago. Now the #8 hitter, Felix Fermin, walks to the plate. Felix, a double for an RBI. Scored a run back in the 7th inning. Alicea went in to get some sunglasses in case the sun pops out from behind the clouds here at Wrigley. And with 2 on, nobody out, here is Fermin. 1 for 3 today. And Matthews Matthews falls behind. Pagnozzi going to talk to Matthews, and Dave Duncan a sprint out of the Cardinal dugout.
Yeah, he is scurrying out of there. He's the Cardinal pitching coach. He was a major league catcher and a good one. There has always been an argument as to whether a catcher can be a good pitching coach in the major leagues as opposed to a pitcher, a guy who's done it. What catchers can lend to pitchers is that they have seen the results of pitches. That's where they're the experts. They may not be experts on arm movement, on how to grip a curveball, on whether to stay on top of a pitch or not, but the one thing that they can really help a pitcher with, as Tom Pagnozzi can, is the finish on pitches.
2-0 to count on Fermin, taking all the way, and it's 3-0, and he'll be taking again.
He'll be taking twice, probably. The 3-0 and the 3-1 pitch if the 3-0 pitch is in there.
3-0. A little high. Pagnozzi wondering where that pitch was. Ball 4, a hit and 2 walks. T.J. Matthews laid one in and didn't get the call. Look at this pitch on 3-0. This was called ball 4.
Well, all it was waste time right down the middle. You didn't think that was a strike, did you?
8 straight out of the strike zone from T.J. Matthews. Back-to-back walks after the hit. Mark Pitkaisic getting ready for the Cardinals in their bullpen. And here is Glanville pinch hitting, and he takes ball 1, and that's 9 in a row.
Growing concern here in the 9th inning on Tony La Russa's part. Well, if you're Glanville, you try to make him throw a strike. You're still trailing by 8 runs. The way you figured is your run is the 6th run, potentially. Dennis Eckersley is figuring, tell me I'm going to have to be in this game in a same situation. He didn't want it. He just doesn't want it from a team standpoint.
Absolutely. He did mop up in the game yesterday. A 13-3 Cardinal win. 1-0 to Glanville. 2-0. And the Cubs are thinking rally. A single, 2 walks, Glanville pinch hitting. And if you get Glanville on, then you get the top of the order, and it really gets interesting. Bases loaded with Cubs. Gonzalez, Houston, and Fermin. Glanville pinch hitting for Bottenfield. 2-1 pitch. Good slider, 2-2.
Interesting pitch, 2-1 count, leading by 8. Some pitchers find it easier to get the slider across than the fastball. And that's what Glanville chooses. A little cutter to Glanville.
Now the 2-2. Right back at us. You're not kidding. You're diving out.
I'm out of here. I told you that. Don't expect me to try to field anything. You thought we were too high up.
Glanville trying to come up with a big pinch hit for Jim Riggleman and the Cubs. Bases loaded, nobody out. And a 2-2 count. T.J. Matthews ready. Staying alive. Senior coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on Fox, and the producer of today's game is John Filippelli. Today's game directed by Billy Webb, associate director Lance Garrett. Studio show produced by David Banks, directed by Bob Levy. Executive producers of Fox Sports are David Hill and Ed Gorn, and our thanks to Steve Horn up here in the booth for his help. Bases loaded, nobody out. 2-2 to Glanville, pinch hitting. Stayed with that pitch and stays alive, still 2-2. Matthews just got away with a hanger.
Glanville out in front of this slider on the inside part of the plate. It was a hanger indeed right there.
Still 2-2 on Glanville. 1 out. So Glanville battled, could not connect with T.J. Matthews. Bases loaded, 1 out, and one fielder after the next going over to the dugout to get a set of sunglasses as the sun is just beating down on Wrigley Field now. Danny Schaefer, the first baseman, went over. Here's McRae, bases loaded, 1 out. Bryan is 1 for 3 with a walk and a single. McRae, an RBI single, his last time up. Tied up, down and in. Strike 1.
A lot of guys get into games like this. Scott Service of the Chicago Cubs, the only position player who has not played in this game for both sides.
Matthews in 9th inning trouble. 1 ball, 1 strike on McRae. Runner at third, Gonzalez started this with a hit and a walk to Houston. A walk to Fermin. Glanville pinch hitting, struck out. Now McRae. 2 balls and a strike. With the bases loaded, 3 grand slams and 14 out of 49 in his career. Two balls and a strike on McRae. Now 2-2. So Matthews trying to work his way into and then out of trouble here in the 9th inning. Remember, Sandberg has been lifted from this game. He is not the one on deck. It's Jose Hernandez. Two balls, 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 1 out. Full count.
I tell you, this may sound funny, but a walk or a single feeds a rally like this. And a home run can stop a rally like this.
See what McRae can do on a 3-2 Matthews pitch. 10-3. Here comes La Russa. Out goes Matthews. And in comes Petkaizik.
I know that sounds strange. You say, wait a minute, a home run will give them 4 runs. Well, this is the 9th inning. So the thing that feeds rallies like this is a walk or a single. The worst thing that could happen to the Cardinals then was a walk and not a home run. A home run kind of breaks the momentum. You bring in somebody else in, and you've got a 4-run lead. But that walk adds an interesting touch to this ball game.
Matthews out, Petkaizik in. Cubs trying to rally in the 9th. From a 10-2 game to a 10-3 game, but bases loaded, 1 out here in the 9th inning, and Mark Petkaizik will come in and try to end it for the Cardinals. 4th pitcher of the day for St. Louis, facing Jose Hernandez. Strike 1. Hernandez 0 for 1 since entering back in the 7th inning. They took Sandberg out. That gets away, but you don't try it. Down by 7. And a 1-1 count. Good work by Pagnozzi.
Down by 1, tie ball game. In the 9th inning, he may try this, but you're exactly right. You have to play a passive base-to-base game when you're trailing by 7 this late in the game. All the Cardinals want is an out any way they can get it. Sacrifice fly? Fine, thank you. We'll take the out. Fielder's choice? That's fine, too. Even if a run scores, they want the out.
Bases loaded, 1 out, 1-1 pitch. Missed the corner. Petkaizik, a sinker ball pitcher. And The thought is for the Cardinals, bring him in, hope for the ground ball, and hope for the double play. But as you mentioned, just get outs. The only out, the pinch hitter Glanville struck out against Matthews. 2-1 to Hernandez. The chopper. Petkazik only play at first. They do get the out. In to score is Houston. It's 10-4. So a 6-run game with 2 on, 2 out, and Grace coming up. This is game number 90 for each team. Cardinals had lost 8 in a row here at Wrigley to the Cubs before yesterday's 13-3 win over Chicago. They follow that up with a 10-4 ninth inning lead. 2 on, 2 out. Grace at the plate. He's 1 out of 4. Petkazik, years past, has been a starter trying to adjust to the bullpen. Grace trying to find something to hit ahead of the count 2-0. Grace will make Petkazik come to him. 3-0. Sosa waiting on deck. Bases loaded for Sosa. Bases loaded, 2 out. And Dave Duncan will make his second trip to the mound of the inning.
Out to talk to Petkazik. And now Dennis Eckersley is up and throwing. And remember, he had that forlorn look on his face earlier. Probably thinking, tell me, I'm going to be in this game. We're leading by 8 going into the 9th inning. But he is up and throwing now.
They still lead by 6, but the base is loaded for Sosa, who has 1 career grand slam.
I would imagine this will be Petkazik's last hitter, because you want to give Eckersley a cushion. The potential tying run is Luis Gonzalez, and he's slated up after Leo Gomez. So I would imagine the reason Duncan went out there was to buy time, and should Sosa get on, I think Eckersley will pitch to Gomez instead of waiting until Gonzalez gets up there, if he does get up there.
Fermin, McRae, and Grace, the runners aboard. 2 out, 9th inning. Cardinals leading by 6. Here's Sosa. Has 2 doubles. Takes ball 1. Sosa could make this a 2-run game with 1 swing.
But still, a walk is just as dangerous as far as the Cubs are concerned, because you don't have the tying run up there. And until you do, the home run's a moot point.
2-0 to count. T.J. Matthews came in with a chance to shut it down. Did not do his job. Petkazik trying to mop up. Bases loaded, 2 out. 2-0 on Sosa. 3-0. No strikes on Sosa. 3-1. That time it looked like Petkazik just cut it loose.
By right, Sammy Sosa should be taking here, because he doesn't represent the tying run. They don't do that anymore as much. We'll see.
3-1 to Sosa. Ground ball to short. Clayton diving stop, can't make a play. A run scores. Fermin scores. Sosa's aboard, and it's a 10-5 lead.
An infield hit, the 3rd hit of the game for Sammy Sosa, an RBI, RBI number 65, and We talked about it, and that's what Tony La Russa is going to do. He's going to make the move there. This is a smart play in my judgment, because you bring Eckersley in the game with a cushion of one hitter. The potential tying run is on deck, not at the plate. And if he serves up a home run or a single now, Eckersley does have that one batter cushion.
Matthews started the inning. Petkaiser got one out. And now Dennis Eckersley into the game with a bases loaded, 2 out, and the Cardinals leading by 5. Cardinals led 10-2 coming into this game, or I should say into this inning, and it looks like they will use all 10 if they're going to hang on here in the 9th inning. Welcome to Wrigley Field, Tony La Russa. Folks, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Sammy Sosa and the Cubs travel to St. Louis to take on Ron Gantz and the Cardinals. Exclusive Saturday afternoon baseball beginning at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, or 1:30 Mountain, 12:30 Pacific. Check local listings. Dennis Eckersley, in his career, has saved 335 games, 4th all time. And he became a closer when he went back to the American League, back to the AL, and for the first time met Tony La Russa, Dave Duncan. They turned him into a closer, and he has been one of the best ever.
He left the Chicago Cubs in 1986. As a matter of fact, the Cubs gave him away to Oakland for 2 minor leaguers. And we mentioned it earlier, in 1986, Dennis Eckersley had 3 major league saves. And today, 335. It is really one of the real remarkable careers that any pitcher has ever had in the history of the game, because he was very successful as a starting pitcher and even more successful as a stopper.
Bases loaded here, 2 out, and it will be Eckersley and Gomez. Leo Gomez is the man for Chicago. He has 1 career grand slam, and he bats with a bases loaded, 2 out. Cubs trailing by 5 here in the 9th. And it's up to Eckersley now for the Cardinals. Eckersley was with the Cubs 84, 85, 86. Save situation for Eckersley. Broken bat pop-up, 1 pitch, and he does his job. Alicea puts it away, and the Cardinals win it 10-5. The 13th save of the year for Eckersley. Stottlemyre the winner, 9-6. Bullinger the loser, 3-8. And today's genuine Chevrolet player of the game, Brian Jordan. A 6 RBI day, 2 home run day, including a 2-run homer in the 1st and a grand slam in the 6th inning. We will join Chip Caray after these words. So for Tim McCarver, this is Joe Buck saying so long from Wrigley. Cardinals win it 10-5 over Chicago. Chip Caray coming up.